Today I'm going to be giving you tips how to pass real estate exam with UBC. Tip number 1. So when you're going to sign up at UBC, what they will do, they will send you the books, they'll give you the assignments that you do have to submit, and they're also going to give you 1,000 question books that you have to practice with. And what a lot of people do, they assume that if I study those 1,000 question books and if I do those assignments, then I'll be ready for the actual exam. And this is unfortunate because this is why we end up with so many calls that people call us and says, you know what, I failed the exam. And we ask them, so what happened? How did you study? And a lot of times they'll say, yeah, I went through a different school. And that's all they taught me is how to get through those 1,000 questions. And that's my practice. And that's not enough. Why? Because UBC exams got changed. Before 2017, you could have relied on those 1,000 question books. But after 2017, they changed them completely. And now the exams, they actually have cycles. So every 4 months, they change the cycle. And when I say cycle, that means the questions in that cycle will be changed. GOBC students aware of the cycles, they know exactly what will happen in the exam, what question they will see in the exams. But so you know that you cannot rely on those 1,000 question books. Why? Because again, the more you're going to try to memorize them, the more you will see that you cannot recognize any of that questions on the exam. Tip number 2. Keywords. You see, exam is all about the keywords, and our students, they know it so well. They know exactly why the statement is true, why the statement is false, because one word can make things true or false just by one word. So if I say only that, or if I say regardless of client's instructions, you see those keywords are too strong and it's indication of the false statements. And again, if you can recognize things like that, and if you can start watching them and see which one is the false statements, which one is the true statements based on the keywords, then it makes your life easier. The other thing we use is the method of elimination. So we always teach our people how to eliminate the statements based on the keywords too. So please watch. So even if you don't go through GOBC, just if you study, just kind of go through the questions that's given to you at least, and then kind of try to figure out why is that statement is false, why is it true. So do not memorize, make sure that you actually understand the content. So tip number 3, UBC exams. So they give you 2 chances. They say you have the 2 chances to go for the exam. If you fail once, you have to wait for 3 months. And then you go for the second chance, and that's your last one. And if you fail on the second attempt, then guess what you have to do? You'll have to re-register again. You have to submit those assignments again and start everything from the beginning. Now, and that's where people make a mistake, because sometimes they take that first chance and they decided to try it by themselves and say, let's see how I do that. And they fail. And then they come to us and say, so, you know, I still have 1 chance left. And we say, oh my gosh, I wish you came to us before, because you don't realize that the second exam actually gets harder than the first one. And we know that UBC denies that statement, but that's the reality. Over 18 years, all our students always come back and they tell us that's just the fact. It always gets so much more difficult in the second attempt. So again, tip number 3, do not waste your first chance. Tip number 4, math. Now, you see, math is one of the easiest part of the exam. And again, you probably say, oh my gosh, I hate math, and I actually worry about the math portion, but honestly, we love it. Now, I used to hate math in school. I don't know if you're on my boat, but I used to be not a good math student. So again, I always compare this math to the actual texting. So if you're really good at texting, oh, you're gonna be amazing at this math portion of it. Honestly, after you finish studying the math with us, you'll see how easy the math actually gets in there. And GOBC students always wish to have more math on the exam than the law, because you see, the law is the tricky part. It's where it gets complicated. It's where they can trick you on the keywords. But math, as soon as you know how to do the calculation, as soon as you know where the buttons are, then nobody can trick you on that. And that's what will take you to those high scores in the 80s and 90s. So again, trust me, math is the best part. So on the exam for real estate people, you're gonna have probably from 15 to 20 questions. So it's kind of a 20% average. Right? And mortgage people, 25 to 30 questions is your max. So again, most of the exam will be law. Math, again, it's not much of it, but it's the best part. And it will take you to those high scores in the 80s and 90s. So tip number 5 is, how do you choose your mentor? Who are you going to be listening to in order for you to get licensed? Now, one thing I want to make sure that you understand, getting licensed and being licensed is 2 different things. If somebody is claiming that they've been in business for 35 years and now suddenly they decided to teach you how to get licensed, it's 2 different skills. And I always tell you guys, right now, whatever we're going to teach you now, it's just to pass the exam. After you pass the exam, unfortunately, all that information is going to be not useful. And I always say, just study, pass the exam, forget the whole thing. And then when you get to real life, that's when you're going to learn different skills. So again, please be careful, and I always tell this to you over and over. And the reason for that, because we're always in depth with students from different schools all the time. Why? Because people who've been teaching them, they've been licensed for the last 20 years or 35 years, and now suddenly they decided to teach you how to get licensed. Do you see my point? And again, if they haven't been on the exam for the last 20, 35 years, then how would they even know what's going on the exams? Again, what they will be teaching you is the UBC 1000 question books, and I already explained in the other steps that those things will not show up in the actual exam. The exams change every 4 months. So again, who do you listen to, or who becomes your mentor? We have a team of people that goes and constantly sees the new updates, what's going on. So again, it's that information that passes you, not the actual real life information.